Hello, I'm Joshua Adejuyigbe, and I'm the founder and executive producer for HIREYNET Studios Limited, both Nigeria and the UK. Okay, so back to the beginning, I started filmmaking, not really as a personal career, but as a thing of interest when I was in secondary school. We had this group that came over to Akure when I was young. They called it Jesus and Drama, which is JAD, from Kogi State. We had Emmanuel JAD when they came to shoot The Wiles of the Enemies. That was the first time I was introduced to set life, and looking at a group of creatives coming together to shoot a film really sparked my interest in trying to be a creative myself. I know I went to science class, but I found myself doing more creative stuff, and I've been writing way before then. Some of my scripts were given to the executive producer back then for Jesus and Drama, and he saw potentials in me, but it was not explored until 2021. Okay, so before I started filming in 2021, I first started with a film in 2020 during the pandemic. I was a bit bored, let's put it that way. I had access to a camera, and I really, as a bored person, I tried to explore new areas of interest. But during the pandemic, no one was going out, so I just decided to start up with a film. It was I Hate Christians with CSC Chapel of Praise, Akure back then. Although the film didn't continue because almost every of our actors had to travel back home and were left with no one. So because of that, a friend of mine, we met on a platform which was called Temple Guard, which was about sexual purity. Then a friend of mine reached out to me. I think I saw you shoot a movie back then. How about you help us with a movie called Man? So this was the first time I ventured into it, but after that, I really let it die down. I did the documentary for my mom's 60th birthday. After that, it was just there. Then the personal experience that made me to launch out fully was the death of my father, which gave birth to a lot of inbuilt stories in me. Like, I had a lot of ideologies to life, which I really wanted to put out there, but saying it to people, being a young person and knowing the kind of cultural background I had, it's not really, we don't really have a voice as the young generation, but we have to find a creative way of reaching out to the older generation and even to the younger generation and also to our peers. So that was what prompted me. The death took me through a crucible, and it made me to intensify in terms of my storytelling. As at then, I dropped the video called The Tribute to my father, and then continued also pairing up with a friend of mine who studied theater arts, which is Arnold Mafo. Yeah, it made it really easy, and bringing his experience on board made the journey like a very good journey. Well, let's put it this way. I've always loved to be the boss of myself. Starting from 2017, we started the movement called the ABCD Anybody Can Drum. Then after 2017, we started the drum workshop. I thought that was a brand I was going to build on and start a career on. But eventually, life dawned on me. I figured it's not really sustainable when you say I'm a drummer for a profession, especially in the town I was, and also being committed to a church that doesn't pay. So it was a lot. I tried doing freelancing, but when I tried it, I was given 200 naira, and I'm like, is this how it's gonna go? But I still wanted to be the boss of myself. Eventually, venturing into film production, I first worked under Love Movie Dome. Josephine was my boss back then, and seeing that I still really wanted to tell my own story. So 2021, like I said, after the death of my father, made me to launch out fully as a filmmaker in HIREYNET Studios Limited. So that's the point at which we decided to become a full studio. So how did the idea for HIREYNET Studios come about? Uh, it's a funny story, but growing up, they used to call me Ire Network. When I was in JSS1, I used to draw comic books back then. And back then, I used to draw it like, the way we have Hollywood. The way we have Hollywood with the H and on the mountain and all that. So I used to construct something like that with Ire Network. So I just constructed a big eye, people climbing ladders on top of it, and it was so nice. It was a big dream back then, and which is still going to be achieved eventually. So putting in Ire Network, then eventually I got the nickname Hire. Then moving on, I tried to research what does Hire stand for. Then it ended up being something innovative, and when I checked it, Hire innovative, then the color theme was orange, black, and all that. So it was one of the things that made me to pick up the Hire. It's a network of innovative people. So HIREYNET is not me, it's a network of innovative people. Why did you decide to launch the studio in the UK and specifically in Sheffield? Well, specifically in Sheffield, that's a big ask. Why did I decide to launch HIREYNET in the UK? Because currently I'm in the UK and it wouldn't make sense if I am over here and I don't continue what I started back in Nigeria. So launching it in Sheffield is where I'm based at the moment, and also Sheffield is a place where the creative industry is, let's just say, is developing, unlike London, Manchester, and all that. We have lesser of creative activities going on here because it's a small place. I think population is not all that high and all that. It's not like the major cities in the UK, like Leeds, like London and the likes. But the dream is to help in building a kind of creative environment wherever I find myself. So building it in Sheffield seems like a good opportunity, although we took a little break and now we're back in business and we're trying to launch out fully and building it back in Sheffield. And Sheffield is a good place. We've got nice locations, we've got nice terrains, we've got countrysides, we've got Peak District, we've got everything around the South Yorkshire. So it's a good place to like shoot movies and get your ideas into a reality. Okay, so the vision was not to tell religious stories like a lot of people might think we are venturing into. It is not to tell Christian stories. It is to help people to navigate the darkness of life and also to shed light into the dark portions of people's life, and also to be a form of moral standard for some of the other movies. So that was the vision. And also when we're trying to tell stories, it's to make us see the reality. We can't tell a Nigerian story without really involving religion, because Nigeria is a religious country, and it really baffles me when people neglect or ignore the religious side when they're trying to tell stories in Nigeria, which is unrealistic. So the God factor is one thing we really, really want to embed in all our movies, and the vision is to ensure that we are telling creative stories in reverence to God. So that is the vision.
Now the headlines. Coronavirus hits Nigeria with 1 million death toll.
The Nigerian government bans flights in and out of the country. Foreigners protest at the embassy at the short notice.
This coronavirus is spiritual.
Spiritual, but it's a virus. That is spiritual. Hi, I'm Nike. I'm your sister.
Hey, wait. Sanitize your hand.
Don't tell me. Be many things. What you show me no job. And one rally that day. Oh, what you come and share it for? Come and sorry. Yes, already.
Yeah.
When I newly got married, it wasn't over a year that I took him. That is I'll be very for you. Don't you dare! Don't you dare hang on! Oh, just
Asking what my problem. I've always been at the receiving end for everything you do, bro. What about you? You think you can do this with me, bro? You think you can do this, bro?
Okay, so starting back in those days, we had a very small team, which a lot of them are still in HIREYNET at the moment. Back then, we had Arnold, the director, like a friend of mine who studied theater arts. We had Arnold. We had our welfare, Max, which was Bosse. She came to join us from Love Movie Dome. We had Winner, who auditioned and joined in the early days. Now is our sound guy. We have Akinola Olamide. We had a lot of people that joined during the production of Too Late to Cross, and that was the initial team. We had a small team. We shot a feature film in 1 week, which was which I can't really say it was a lot of planning, but it was way easier because we didn't pay too much attention to the technical aspects of film production and storytelling. But now I don't think we can do the same thing. But that was the team back then. We had a small team. We had people doubling as welfare, doubling as actors, and everybody was just putting their hands around, like rallying around. We need help with lighting. We need every single thing. So it was a small team of about maybe 15 or 10, not really that loud. And it was almost like post-pandemic. So the script was written for the pandemic just to make it one location movie, and it was good. The best way to do that initially is to be careful when writing your script. Like I said, look at the resources at hand before even launching out your writing campaign. Like, okay, what I thought was, okay, we have one location, we have 5 bedrooms in the location, and how do we best manage it? Why not just make it just a group of, just a family? The whole movie was all about a family. So that was the way we launched out. So the best way is, because we didn't really have the finance, we just wrote our script based on the budget we have on the ground. So I think the mistake a lot of us make is the fact that we write very ambitious scripts and we want the funding, but we just need to start from somewhere. And which means you can write the ambitious scripts, but the story for the moment, try to write a script that can fit your budget. I can tell you that you can shoot a movie on a 0 budget if you can plan it properly. Yes. So that was how we managed it. So how my Nigerian heritage influenced the story I create. When I got to the UK, is because I've seen a lot of Nigerians in here, and the language aspect, I know all of us are trying to like fit in. We're trying to be British, we're trying to do a lot of things, but that Yoruba, because me as a Yoruba person, I cannot cease to write a Yoruba inspired script. We have the likes of Mukan that was released last year, and which is a Nigerian heritage kind of movie. So we had Mukan, we had Jay's Diary back in the UK, and we even had Ileayo in 2023. So you'll see a trend of things about including the African heritage into our writing. So we're trying to tell stories in a modern way, but not neglecting our heritage is what we are aiming to achieve. Okay, so the religious, I'm going to read it again. Religious, cultural specificity, and universal appeal. How do we balance it? So like I'll use Ileayo as an example. Ileayo is a religious movie, which is one of our first major religious movies. Then it is a cultural movie. So the storyline was written in a way that it appeals to the global network. It appeals to cultures out there, because we're trying to embed, we're trying to show it in music, we're trying to show it in religion, but there's a way we can merge everything. So Ileayo is like the perfect example of merging the both religious, the cultural, and the global appeal. So that's one thing, and yeah, I think it's most about the writing. Yes, So whenever people pitch their scripts or their stories, we look at how it speaks to us religiously or culturally, morally, and also does this stand a chance to compete in the global market. So striking a balance between them is not making it too much of a religious film and not making it too much of the culture. We are trying to talk about real life things that people can relate to, and even if it is the creative aspect, we are trying to still make people connect with the creativity. It's all about entertainment at the end of the day, not making it too clouded by one aspect of creativity and neglecting the others. Okay, so the first challenge we faced was more of the finance. Finance was a big thing because shooting a film, I think Too Late to Cross was good because I just received like a grant from the government to fund my production. So it was good. We had the funding, we had the finance, and I also had the resources. I had family house and everything to house people. Then moving on, we now went to a visit from yesterday. A visit from yesterday was very difficult to shoot.
Please don't forget the account of the Bible in the book of Ephesians. You see, the roles of the man and the woman, they were well spelled out in the book of Ephesians.
It's his fault.
It's my fault now?
How is it my fault?
It's definitely your fault. A couple of weeks back, yeah, something terrible happened. Yeah. Okay. So my wife tells me about somebody that was coming to stay over for like 3 weeks. Yeah. And then guess who's back? Amachi.
What?
Come to my room tonight by 1 a.m. if you really want to know what I want.
Can you just speak? Where do I start from? Okay, you didn't marry me yet to be your slave. I was doing something and she helped me out. What's wrong with that?
But I'm not the one that married the monster here.
Think, Tolu, think.
Amen. Father, in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen. We thank you in the mighty name of Jesus. As we eat this food,
because there was no resources on ground, and all my resources were aimed at me traveling out of the country, and I wanted to do a film before I left Nigeria. So a visit from yesterday had the financial challenge, but we still found our way around, because when I was writing the script, like I said, I put in mind the budget, and that was I wrote the script just for 3 casts, 3 people, 3 to 4 people in the whole script, and it was a good story. Although looking at it, we might need to like reproduce, because now there's bits of better funding, but it was a good story. And that the major challenge back then was finance, because we could not purchase, we could not attain the perfect production value. That's what I feel, because people will look at it and be like, oh, this is a low budget movie, like especially starting from the hair of the therapist who was trying to advise them. You know, people will say that, oh, this is powder, this is, the makeup was done by me, like not having enough hands, and we didn't even have a welfare. Everybody enters the kitchen to cook for themselves, but it was all part of the fun. Eventually now, when everything is getting all standardized, we tend not to we tend to not enjoy it as we used to before, because everything now is more official. So the major challenge back then was the finance. Yes, there were moments I thought I would give up on film production, because like I said, it was taking too much money from me. I'm even talking about recent occurrences. It was taking too much money from me, and people are really not watching. Like most times I tell people, subscribe. Some of them watch, they laugh, they leave, they don't subscribe. And when we tried to sell our first film, it was a good turnout in Nigeria, but in the UK, people were skeptical about putting their money to pay for a film that they don't know the people who did it. So that period I was thinking, should I stop filmmaking and just focus on making money for myself and doing stuff? But I just realized that, well, Rome was not built in a day. So with what I know now and the knowledge we're about to achieve and the way we're about to go in our business, there should be something that you see that will cause a turnaround. So it's not time to give up, it's time to press forward better. Okay, so cultural collaboration, what does it mean to me? It means that, like, bringing people from different culture to work on a film project and hearing each perspective to storytelling. So bringing these cultural differences into a single film, it also brings out the beauty in it. So I've worked with a few of them, although I've not created films in that aspect because I'm trying to stick to a niche of shooting my own kind of cultural films. But working on other sets, it was a beautiful experience because people from different cultures. I worked with Janine. I worked with a lot of them. I worked with Hugh. Like all these guys were so amazing, and also seeing their perspective to filmmaking generally, it's a lot different. Yeah. So how would you describe HIREYNET Studios today, right now, in terms of identity, scope, and mission? So HIREYNET Studios right now, HIREYNET Studios right now currently is on a kind of rebranding state. We're trying to come out bigger and better. Before we could venture into any story, we want to see how well it is going to strive in the industry, because it's getting to a point where you need finance to be able to compete out there, because now film industry in Nigeria generally is getting highly competitive, and everyone is hungry out there. Everyone is striving to be something. Everyone is coming up with new inspiring stories and innovative stories. So the best way to counter is like study the trend of the market and also build on ourselves to come up with something better. So right now, HIREYNET Studios is working on a new set of stories that we are going to like share to the world pretty soon. We are not starting yet. So like I said, we're in a rebranding process. So it might take a bit of taking some time off to try and shoot the next film. And also our mode of distribution might change. Then in terms of our mission, like I said, now we are striving to tell realistic stories and realistic and creative stories with the God factor, like in reference to God, if you know what I mean. I'm not talking about purely religious films now. I'm talking about ensuring that the fear of God is like the core of everything. And in reference to God, yes, like I said, in reference to God, we can't tell a story without mentioning, like ensuring that God is involved. That's the point. So in terms of our mission, we're trying to build a creative and innovative environment with God at the center of everything. So that is where we are at now. Okay, so what excites me the most about the future of HIREYNET is the fact that we have, like, the world is not ready to see the creative things that are about to come out from HIREYNET Studios. Starting from this summer, yes, starting from August, we have a production set out for August, and we are looking forward to people's collaboration. So this production is in collaboration with CC Chapel of Praise Sheffield, also in collaboration with IMO Initiative. So this is a massive production that we know that you don't want to miss, and it's something we're not taking for granted, and we want to see you get ready for the movie that is about to come out. So I'm excited about the future of HIREYNET because we know we are getting there. We know we are getting there, and we know we are going to be a force to reckon with very soon in the industry when it comes to telling realistic stories with God being involved in it. So in reference to God, and not to be cliche or something like that, we are there to tell unique stories that you have not heard of, eyes have not seen. It says it's going to do a new thing. New thing doesn't mean something you've heard of before, so it means something you've not heard of, like a concept that you know this is heavenly inspired, not just inspired by occurrences around you, but yeah, watch out. Okay, so the advice I would try to give someone who is trying to build their own studio from ground up is do not rush things. Let's put it that way. Don't rush things. Also, ask questions from people ahead of you. In my journey, I had a friend, which is Battle Axe Shegun Okewo, who I usually go back to ask for help in terms of the technicalities and style of storytelling. Also, if you're starting a film studio, please watch movies. Don't just depend on what you have in your head, but watch movies not for watching sake, but to know what is the latest technology of shooting, what is in vogue, and also the kind of, in terms of things to help your creativity. Eventually, when you watch, eventually you create your own template at which people begin to follow. But for a start, you need to like standardize what you have in your hand, standardize it. So you don't need to have the massive budget. Like I said, write your script based on what you have in your hand. You can shoot a feature film with a zero budget, but knowing what you have, you can shoot yourself. You can set up a tripod, set up ring lights. You can start from somewhere, and before you know it, people start gaining interest. All our influencers and all that, they started from somewhere, and people loved what they do, and it's just like 1 minute people laugh. You are giving a service, you are rendering a help, you are meeting someone's needs. It could be entertainment, it could be edification or something like that. So start from somewhere. Don't starve your audience too. Yeah, that was something I really should have learned before starting out. Knowing that I'm about to start this journey, I should have like a plan for the next 1 to 2 years, just to ensure that we have something in motion that people are looking forward to. So this is the advice I'm giving to you. Do not be afraid of the budget. Write for the budget. Then eventually people will look at your light and want to invest in you. So that is the advice I'm going to give you as an upcoming filmmaker. So you'll get there. All right, common misconceptions people have about filmmaking in general, about our studio, is the fact that it really is easy to shoot a film. It's not that easy to shoot a film. Like, first of all, we need time. We need time to produce. We need time to write scripts. Currently, I'm writing a script, and when it comes to feature films, we are talking about 60 to 120 pages. You should know this is going to take time. Even a short film, 15 pages, 20 pages, it takes time. So when it deals with filmmaking, you have to be patient. Even the post-production sometimes takes way more than the production or pre-production. So time is needed. So patience is something that is a virtue for you as a filmmaker. So that is what I can say about that.